Okay, well, welcome to the October 14th Electric Reliability Committee meeting. We're live. So please remember that anything you say or whatever is on YouTube tomorrow. So
it's on Facebook right now, John.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Just a couple of housekeeping items to start with. As usual, the approval of the minutes. Lee did ask me to change the word pessimistic to optimistic at the bottom of page 1, and I will happily do that. I'll follow Lee's recommendations, unless you've got any suggestions, Jason.
I do not.
In which case, all those in favor of approving the minutes of the July 8th meeting, please raise your hands. Take it, the minutes are approved. Good. Second item is I've received apologies from Jason McFarlane and Bernie Grieger. So that makes the three of us a bare quorum. Lee and I were just talking, and I said, frankly, I don't know where we're going with the electric reliability. Dan's not here. If you've seen the emails from Dan about our request to the Board of Supervisors for a meeting for that to be put on the agenda, that request was denied. I'm not quite sure where it goes after that, but we're certainly not getting the interest that I hope we would get out of the Board of Supervisors. That's the way it seems, or am I wrong?
Well, would you say it's denied, John, or it slipped through the cracks?
I said he said he had requested that it be put on the agenda. Which meeting? The last board meeting or the meeting before?
I think it was the last one.
That request was denied. So
All right.
maybe Dan can explain where we go from here. I also sent an email to Kurt Ferguson asking him to forward the PowerPoint I put together about last Friday's outage, which affected my house. Not seriously, because I have a generator. I'm one of the lucky ones. But the power was out for 9 hours. And quite frankly, the messaging, which I put on the...
I read that, yeah.
Yeah, the messaging from Pico was pathetic.
I was away on vacation, so when I read your email while I was on vacation, and I apologize. I did not realize it was that extensive of a timeline.
Yeah.
It
was long.
Do we have any, as we always discuss, do we have any idea of the cause?
Not from Pico. Simply as an electrical engineer, and because the location is fairly close to my house on Dickinson Drive, on Dickinson Circle, I realized it was probably an underground cable failure because there was no attempt by Pico to reclose. After the lights went out, they stayed out. There was no momentary closure off. So that meant to me that it was probably an underground cable, and sure enough, it was. But which means that Pico then has to locate the fault and then bypass the defective cable with a cable laying in the street, and that's exactly what's on Dickinson Drive right now.
Right.
There's about 300 foot of cable there. I don't know what that cable cost, but it's I don't know, at least $100 a foot, I would think. So that's an expensive piece of cable laying in the street. And based on other failures we've had around here in Yardley Hunt of underground cables, it'll probably stay that way for the next 3 or 4 weeks. And then they have to come in and dig the street up.
I appreciated your comment about communication and our board's previous discussion about the importance of that, acknowledging the fact that my takeaway from our meeting with Ted was that that's the one thing that they could really do. I
Yeah.
mean, with all due respect to the grid and the infrastructure and some of the ideas that we discussed, it seems like the one thing that they could impact is having proper or better communication. So I hope that we're able to see some outcome from that.
Yeah, I'd hope so too. Just as a reminder, I mean, the first page said we got the smart meter on our house obviously told Pico that the lights were out, because within a very short period of time, maybe a minute or two, we got the message from Pico saying that your power is off. And it said, as it normally does, Pico is investigating and we'll let you know what's going on as soon as we know what's happening. And then
You'll forgive me. I have to interrupt. The somewhat absurdity of being in your house, getting an email to tell you that the power in your house is out.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Right,
well,
Lee?
Yeah, so for sure.
well, yeah. If we look around that absurdity, I mean, the advantage of the smart meter is obvious there. Pico knows the power is out before, well, not before we do. I mean, all the lights went out. They came back on again about 50 seconds later because my generator had started, and the generator picked up the house. But it's a nuisance. And when you hear that Pico knows about it and they're investigating, fine. It's irritating, but you think things are going to happen.
Yep.
What was the next? The next one was what? Somewhat less than 30 minutes later, they said they were investigating, and they estimate that the power will be back on at 8:30 for replacing an underground cable. I don't think so, but Pico doesn't say that. Then nothing more until what, 9:27, which is an hour past the 8:30 time, and they're still looking, and now they think it will be on at 11:30. Okay. And then no more messages at all, except on the outage map. It says the crews have been dispatched, and it's due to a planned outage or maintenance. I mean, that's the sort of thing that puts you into orbit. What do you mean? What do you mean planned outage maintenance?
Yeah, no.
But anyway.
Well, how big an area was affected?
Well, the first one said 90 on the mountains map. It said 99 homes. And then I know what happened, and what for the second one, they had to de-energize a transformer to connect the temporary cable to it. And in doing that, they cut off another 56 homes. And that's when they said it's due to a planned outage or maintenance.
Yeah.
Those messages, the outage map message and the messaging from the Pico system are obviously in conflict. And at the end, 3:30 in the morning, or 3:18 in the morning, Pico thanked us for our patience. What patience? Idiots. So anyway, that was the last item under the Pico items on the agenda. But I was hoping that Kurt would pick that up and send it on to Pico, but I've had no response at all from the township, so I don't know.
All right. So maybe, even though there's not a lot on the agenda, maybe we could, for our next meeting, when Bernie and Jason are here, have a discussion about the value proposition of our committee, and then next steps on what we can do about securing a Pico appearance in front of the board.
Yeah,
I think those guys should be part of that discussion.
absolutely.
So.
Yeah, because we've been doing this for a long time now, Jason. Even before you joined, we're just talking to ourselves, and it doesn't really do much. With occasional appearances by Pico, and they promise the earth. And as you've said, Ted Durand of Pico is he's a public relations guy, and he does what public relations guys do. But he smooths it over. calms you down and all that sort of stuff. But
Oh, I I think hopefully Lee, you and John would appreciate, since I've joined, that I've tried to be blunt and direct. And I think that when you read back on the minutes from that appearance, there was not much said. So a lot of words, but not a lot of content.
yeah.
I don't want to put you guys in a position to have to go on the record with that, but I was not. I personally,
No, that's. I think I may have said it before, Jason. I call that all possible assistance short of actual help. So that's.
for example, getting an email telling you that the power is out in your house where the power is out.
Yeah. Well, I can tolerate that because at least I know the system's working.
I know.
So,
But,
yeah.
So, John, you didn't hear anything from Kurt then at all?
No.
Would, I mean, I go to a lot of these town board meetings. I mean, I could bring it up at the night of a board meeting, but I don't know if how that would fly.
it's perfectly legitimate to me, Lee, having been on the board before. I don't think, and it's really, there's not a protocol per se that prevents a citizen, even if they're a member of a committee, asking a question about the actions of that committee. And, I'm not even quite sure that you have to, and I'm putting this in air quotes, go through the liaison to request access to the chairman of the board. Our role and John's role as the chair committee is to him to run the committee and us to provide, our service. And I think we're very pointed through that. So I think if you were at a board meeting, a BOS meeting, you asked about it, I think it would be completely appropriate within public comment.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's okay with you guys, because I go to a lot of these meetings, and what I would do is I would bring up stuff without notifying the board ahead of time. So they got mad they didn't get mad at me. They told me what they would rather see me do is present it to Kurt Ferguson and discuss it with him before it goes to the board meeting, because the board meeting, you're only limited to 3 minutes. But I mean, John and if Jason, what I could do is I could send Kurt an email and say, listen, I understand Pico hasn't been contacted and I plan on bringing it up at the board meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're on, Lee. Take the ball, run with it. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I'll do that.
Without that, I love you guys. I really do. And I hope you're both well. I see, John, you may have had a fist fight there, but
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah.
I do want to complain that I did try to stop by the Yardley Fire Department on Harvest Day and say hello to John, but I could not locate him. So
I was there. There. I
I
had to
wanted
leave
to-
early. I had to leave early. I left after the helicopter landed. Were you there when the helicopter came?
I did not see the helicopter.
Yeah, that was.
I wanted a little fire hat, but I wanted it from John, not from one of the other.
You could have got a T-shirt for nothing too.
Yeah, Lee, I'm all in favor of that. I support that, and I think it's necessary because we're doing our work here. And other than that, I don't have anything else to talk about tonight.
No. Well, the on the agenda, I had some items there that should go on, in my opinion, should go on to the township website. And you may be the best guy to make those things happen, Jason. I don't know, but
Okay.
at least we should have the a link to the power outage map.
Yep.
A clear message saying call Pico, don't delay, because Ted Duran said to us that it helps Pico if people call in, regardless of being fed a message through the smart meter system.
I'm reading that now. Yeah.
And there could be a link to the Pico, the right tree in the right place. I don't know whether the cable damage that caused our power outage last Friday was due to tree roots. People try to disguise the transformers that they have at the front of their house on the front of the lawn by planting things around them. Of course, over time, those roots get under the cable and start to move the cable, and that could be one cause. And of course, you get lightning strikes causing damage to underground cables as well. I could wax poetic about that because I've been in that field. Electromagnetic pulses are what electrical engineers call lightning. Is that right, Lee?
I would say so, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So it's the magnetic part that you don't see. You see the flash of lightning, you hear the sound, which is the sound of the lightning, but you don't see the magnetic bang that goes with it, and that's what causes a lot of damage.
Yeah. You know, you were mentioning the link to this outage map or whatever. I wonder if Pico, for security reasons, would be allowed.
Oh yeah, no, you can go to the Pico website and you can log in as a guest, and one of the first items that you're allowed to look at is the outage map. That's public knowledge.
Mm.
So I don't see that there'd be any objection.
Yeah. All right.
I think I can't remember whether we mentioned that to Ted when he was talking with us in April, but and you hear, still you see, particularly on Facebook, people say, "What outage map?"
Yeah.
Is there an outage map?
I think it's all part of the overall communication requirements that would be better for us.
Yep.
So I'm with you.
Yeah. So I don't see anything else which can us three can talk about that's going to move us in any direction. Certainly, if you do what you just said, go to a board meeting and ask questions. That might get the ball rolling.
Yeah. Well, right after we're done, I'm going to send Kurt an email. What's going on with Pico showing up at the board to give a presentation or whatever, and see what he says.
Yeah.
And if it's not satisfactory, I'll just bring it up at the board meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, yeah, I could wax poetic about the stuff in my head, Jason, but I'm not going to go into that in a public meeting. It's essentially the message is don't go out in the sun without a hat.
Message received.
That could be a public message. I did it a lot when I lived in Australia. Didn't need a shirt, didn't need a hat. And
well, I hope you're well. And
oh yeah, it's just
you take care of yourself. So
it's work with the dermatologist. But
I hear you.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Hope
Thank
you guys
you,
are well.
Jason.
It's always nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a safe trip, John.